Hello, beautiful Geminis, and welcome to August 2020. I am very excited for this month. Energetically speaking, I'm very excited for this month. It has just such a different flavor than what we've been working with since March. And it's just got this clarity. It's got this kind of new spirit to it. It's a lot more of the playfulness of that childlike joy of exploration of what's next and what's possible. And so I'm really enjoying a lot of these aspects. We're out of the major cosmic shifts for a moment. Earlier this year, we had the North Node shift into your sign of Gemini. We've kind of adjusted to that. Saturn moved back to Capricorn, moved back and forth the last few months. And we've had all these eclipses in June and July. So August doesn't have any of that kind of wild shifting around energy. It's a lot more about direct things. It's a lot more about illumination. And Leo season's really great for Geminis because it's so much about, third house communication, connectivity, playing, creating. It's very symbiotic energy for you. So the sun moves through Leo until August 22nd. And then, of course, we move into Virgo season, which will be all about your internal world and the beauty of your internal world and where you feel safe and nurtured and whole. And that theme will keep going on into September. So I had a really interesting message for Geminis when I sat down with your energy. It just came real fast, and it was actually a really fun moment of visualization as I was feeling through your energy, because the message was, this month is full of vivid visions and spectacles, and it's almost as though you're putting on psychedelic glasses and you're watching the world completely change shape. You're watching things melt and you're watching things form back up, kind of just this wild, trippy, very colorful landscape moving before you, and almost as though you can see the world breathe. You can see the breath of life in the interconnective tissue of this world, of all beings. It's that kind of month. It's that kind of month, my friends, for you all, specifically Geminis. And yeah, it's giving me full body shivers right now. Like I said, it was fun to dip into your energy and even just experience some of that psychedelic power just as a visitor into your energy. And even for mutable air, this sense of melting and reforming can be a little overwhelming. So be kind to yourself, even with all of the fun that can come with putting on those psychedelic glasses and seeing what you see from that vantage point. There's a lot of really supportive energy here for you this month. We're in Leo season, like I said, so communicative, so flirty, so playful, so creative. Right off the bat, we have a full moon in Aquarius, your fellow air sign, in your 9th house of your big world philosophies. How you see the world, how you connect to the world. Queen of Cups, ooh, feelings, intuitive knowing, big psychic downloads. Full moon in Aquarius is not about doing things the status quo. This is about new horizons opening up. I love the full moon in Aquarius. It's one of my favorite moons of the whole year. It always brings about clarity. It always brings about the reminder that we don't have to do things in the same staid, boring fashion anymore, right? It's like, yeah, that's one option for how you can do things, but look at all these other options of how we can do things, right? And so the limits are, and the possibilities are endless, right? There are no limits with a full moon in Aquarius. We have Mercury moving into Leo on the 5th, Venus moving in out of your sign after a very long visit with you all. I hope you enjoyed Venus hanging out in Gemini for a few months there. She's moving on to your 2nd house of value, of abundance, of what we find beautiful. So I think Venus moving over there is going to be really nice for you. Now, middle of this month, Uranus is moving retrograde in Taurus. This is in your 12th house. Uranus is working behind the scenes. I think we've talked about this before, Gems. Five of Wands. That Uranus is doing something really interesting in your neighboring sign of Taurus with you all, which is a spiritual revolution in how you want to connect to spirit, how you want to connect to how you see the world, how you want to connect to how you want to use that part of yourself in the world at large. Right? And so Uranus going retrograde, I think, is always helpful. It's such an electrical revolutionary planet. We got to have time to integrate that stuff every year. Otherwise, I think we'd just be fried. We'd be totally fried, circuitry destroyed. So I actually think it's a very supportive space. We have a new moon in Leo on August 18th and 19th. And then we start tapping into Virgo energy, into your fellow mutable sign, fellow Mercury ruled sign. As we move into Virgo season, like I said, we're tapping a little bit more into a sensitive part of yourself, Hanged Man, and a nurturing part of yourself, and a hidden part of yourself that maybe isn't the flirty, outspoken, external. Five of Cups. Ooh, we got some fives in here, Geminis. Don't worry, we'll talk through it. I'm going to pull one more card. In fact, this month, for whatever reason, I am pulling 5 cards. Maybe it's because it's Leo season, 5th sign energy, and Wheel of Fortune. Okay. Transformation is afoot. And that's true. I think even though this month we're not doing eclipses and we're not doing huge nodal shifts and we're not doing some of the things that have marked the last few months for us, there is still this sense of revolution. There's still this sense of transformation deep down to the bones of what is going on. I think too, adjusting to having the North Node in your sign, whenever the North Node is in your sign, it's a really supportive thing. It will support you, but because it's pulling you forward to your biggest, boldest self, it also means that change is very swift during North Node years in your sign. As a Leo sun, a few years ago, I had the North Node in my sign. And I remember that time. It was really powerful and really quick and efficient, but it was also kind of overwhelming at times. And I'm kind of seeing here, that there's this expansion and this growth and this knowing. And along with that is this kind of sense of like, whoa, these things that used to serve me, these things that used to feel like they were the way I could get things done, the skill sets I thought that were mine to rely on that would always get me through are suddenly not what I need to do anymore. And that's where that kind of psychedelic eyeglass, I think, feeling could come from. Let's start with Queen of Cups. Gosh, I love this energy so much. She is the psychic knowing, right? This energy always invites us into listening to our dreams, listening to that inner knowing, listening to that inner impulse, listening to that deep thrumming voice that's way below on the ocean floor. And there's a lot of meditations out there that talk about, there's like the surface waves and everything that's going on there, but we have to like anchor into the ocean floor wisdom. It's very quiet. It takes a minute to sink down into there, but once you get down there, understanding, solutions to problems, what needs to happen next comes about very easily, but we have to trust ourselves enough to go in there and listen and then follow whatever that guidance that comes up from that is. But of course, this type of wisdom always has our best interest at heart. So right away, even though I think August is very flirty, it's very connective, it's very playful, clear, creative, buoyant, spirited. There's a lot of hope in the air. There's a lot of expanded horizons energy. You may be finding that you are doing your expanding horizons, you're expanding your horizons via this Queen of Pentacles deep diving. Now we have like this conflict card, right? 5 of Wands. And this is coming to head to head with something. And yes, this can be literal. You can literally have it out with a coworker or a sibling or a partner or a situation or a community. You can be having it out, battling it out a little bit, using that that Gemini ability with words to get get things voiced, right? And you could be even feeling a little competitive or a little bit fired up. And I don't think Five of Wands is always a bad thing, because sometimes it's important for us to tap into that fired up, wild, free-spiritedness inside of ourselves to get things done, right? We can't, there is an upside to being willing to fully express that. On the other hand, the shadow side of Five of Wands is it can only get us so far, right? So that's why I think this Five of Wands is surrounded by two very meditative, very slow moving, very listening energies, right? Because I think Five of Wands is important for you this month. I think knowing what battles you want to fight, knowing where you want to put your fire, knowing where you want to put your passion, knowing what matters to you and what lights you up, I think that is so important for you this month. But I also think that that's only one part of the puzzle. There's this other part, there's this deep diving going on with you that is infinite trust is being asked of you about something that I don't think you're going to get all of your answers this month, right? Some of them you will. Some of them you're going to know and it's going to be clear. Some things are going to get that much more mysterious. That much more mysterious. Once you get your answers to one thing, a lot more questions come up. Because I think the more you step into divine grace and you also step into trusting your internal voice and you get more in line with that feeling. I think a lot of times we think, then I will know how to move through the world in this nice linear fashion that empowers me. But what really happens is the more we step into the divine mystery, the more we are asked to trust deeper and deeper. The practice keeps unfolding. It's a very much a continuous process. And there is divine wisdom for you hidden underneath the waves in the psychedelic process of looking at the world as it breathes, right? This is very esoteric, mystic initiation energy that Geminis are working with this month. And quite honestly, I can't even tell you exactly what that means or why it's there. I just know that it is. It just is what is coming to me for you. And it's showing up again with this Queen of Cups and Hanged Man, and how, you know, even when you're in this modality of going for it and moving for it, there's also this kind of detached understanding of like, this is only one part of the puzzle, and even doing that doesn't necessarily give me everything I want. You know what I mean? You ever have that experience where you are in a really intense conversation, or you're really battling it out, but there's this part of you that's looking at it happening and you're like, you know, wow, life is so weird. It's so weird that right now I'm having this conversation, and yet I know this other part of me knows that it's only part of the puzzle and it's not that important. You know, it's that kind of experience this month. Now let's get to the mysterious Five of Cups here, because I can tell, you know, a lot of people when they see this are like, oh no, Five of Cups. Nobody wants the Five of Cups. But here's the deal with Five of Cups. Of course, some of you maybe are going through grief. And if you are going through something with grief, with loss this month or in this year, my heart is with you. My heart is with you when, you know, we are all bound to have the grief in life. It's a big part of it. And sometimes it does really happen. But Five of Cups also speaks to something a little deeper. And not even deeper, but just, I think, more overarching in general, too. So if you're not going through a particular grief process right now, Five of Cups is the doorway card between different phases of the grief process. So the first phase of the grief process, you're really with these spilled cups, right? That's where you need to be, right? And you are still in that modality. The Five of Cups is the conversation that happens when, yes, there's the acknowledgement of the spilled cups and there's the acknowledgement of the cups ahead. And it's that space in between these two where they're both in dialogue that some of our best information comes from in life. And this card is about feeling it all. It's about feeling the hopefulness and the buoyancy and the brilliance of who you're going to be next, the mystery of who you're becoming next, while at the same time feeling the grief of loss of who you have been, right? And these things happen together at the same time, all the time throughout life. And it's coming up strong for you here. And transformation is afoot with you guys. It's just there in the energy. That's why I was saying be kind to yourselves. And then, of course, 10, or the Wheel of Fortune, the 10 in the major arcana. Wheel of Fortune is amazing. It's the turn of a clock. It's the turn of a season. It's the changing of shape of something. And everything that I'm seeing here is that something is falling away. I think the way you've done things, the way you felt you need to get things done, the way you felt you've needed to maybe be loved or love, the way you've needed to work, the way you've needed to play, the way you've needed to be acknowledged is falling away. And in its place is coming something very powerful. And during the month of August, you may feel as though you can't tell what's up or down. It's very much this, like I said, the psychedelic glasses, like what is going on? And it doesn't even have to be because there's a lot of drama externally. I don't think there necessarily is. Maybe there is, but that's what I think can be so overwhelming about sometimes our internal transformation psychedelic process, is that you can look at your weekly schedule and the things that are happening in that week and say, but nothing weird is going on. You know, it's all pretty much stuff that I can handle. It's all stuff it's like, there's nothing here that should be making me feel this way. So why am I feeling this way? And that can be disorienting all on its own. So the reminder there is that sometimes this kind of feeling of something going away and something else coming up in its place and there being that turn of the wheel can really be subtle and take a little bit of time to understand completely. And it may take you looking back over Leo season and as we move into Virgo season to understand it and nurture it and bring it fully to life. But the message here too is to trust your inner guidance system. Trust it, trust it, trust it, trust it, trust it, trust it, trust it. Because it's got something really important. It's trying to tell you about what is next on your journey, which I think is going to be really exciting. I think August in general is going to be very exciting for you. Just remember that there's something deeper going on here. You know, none of these cards today are superficial. We are not getting superficial messages for Gemini this month. You know, sometimes it's about play and jubilation and just being lighthearted. These are deeper messages, and I think they're meant to fit into the whole of anything else going on in your life. So just keep that in mind. Now, also keep in mind that Mars is slowing down in August, and we'll be preparing for his retrograde in September in Aries. And as that's happening, you're going to be starting to notice an integration process going on behind the scenes as well. But we'll get into Mars next month when he does go retrograde. Also, over on Patreon, we are going to be doing a deep dive with Mars. We are going to be doing so much healing when it comes to Mars, Chiron, and Lilith, who are all moving through Aries at this time. And it's going to be an amazing journey. Patreon is the little community we have over there is so beautiful. So if you're looking for extra support at this time, I would love to see you over there on our journey together over the next couple of months. You can also find me on my Instagram and on my website. I will leave all of those links below, so you know where to find me. You will know how to connect with me. You can also find PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry on her Etsy shop. And I will see you all for September and for the moon magics that we have ahead for this Aquarius full moon and this Leo new moon. So excited for this season ahead. I'm sending you all my love. Have a beautiful August, beautiful Geminis.